And we begin with breaking news tonight at 5. Jefferson County Public Schools has announced plans to close 10 early childhood centers. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Connie Leonard. The move comes as the district transitions to what it calls a center-based model for early childhood. In a letter today, the district said the early learning sites will close for the 2026-27 school year, eliminating 30 classrooms. JCPS says the closures are not related to the district's budget cuts amid financial struggle. Again, not related. The 10 sites closing include Blake, Cochran, Farmer, Hawthorne, Jacob, Stone Street, Tully, and Wilt Elementaries, as well as Gaines Early Childhood and Thomas Jefferson Early Childhood. JCPS says it will continue to operate 18 early childhood sites, including a new center that's in Buchel. Well, another rainy day across Kentuckiana, as you see behind me, with showers bringing some heavy downpours and even a few rumbles of thunder today. Those showers started up again downtown just a few minutes ago. Of course, it seems to come and go. Let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell with a look at today's rainy forecast. Mallory?
Hey there, Connie. Yeah, that's right with today's kind of pattern. We're seeing rounds of showers and thunderstorms scattered in nature, so not everyone is seeing them, especially if you live along and south of the parkways. You've been fairly dry with the setup this week. Indiana getting the brunt of the heaviest rainfall, and you can tell here on the Max HD radar, we have some big swaths to the northeast and then this main cluster of storms still off to our west in eastern Illinois. The good news is that should move into our area after the bulk of course, the evening commute is over. But we do have a few of these very small isolated storm cells here, packing a punch with some pockets of heavy rainfall. This one has now moved into Oldham County. That was what was over downtown Louisville, and we have a few additional scattered storms from Bedford down to Paoli as well, Salem, and into just right along the Ohio River here. So big picture view, we have seen the flood watch be extended in not only time, but also coverage area. So yesterday it was issued for our northernmost counties, Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings counties. This has now been filled in to right at the Ohio River. So all of our southern Indiana counties now included in a flood watch. This takes us now through Thursday at 1 p.m. Basically, this is where the heaviest rain has fallen, especially for our neighbors off to the north, Indianapolis down to Cincinnati, but some of our southern Indiana counties starting to see the brunt of that. And on top of that, we could see a few stronger storms through this evening. Everything behaving at this time, no active severe warnings for our viewing area, but know that we are under a level 1 out of 5, so a couple of them could pack a punch with more hail and wind. And of course, we'll talk hour by hour through the forecast and take a look at your 7-day coming up shortly. Connie.
4 days in, we have only just begun to fight. America fights to win, and in Operation Epic Fury, we are. May God's providence cover and protect our troops always.
Continuing our coverage now of the ongoing conflict with Iran. Now on day 5, Defense Department Secretary Pete Hegseth doubling down today, saying the fighting has just begun. This comes as the Senate right now is holding a procedural vote regarding President Donald Trump's decision to start the war with Iran. The legislation, known as a War Powers Resolution, gives lawmakers the chance to make congressional approval mandatory before additional attacks can be carried out. Today on the Senate floor, U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell urged lawmakers to vote against that resolution.
President Trump's use of force to end Iran's war of terror is squarely within his inherent authorities as Commander-in-Chief. Therefore, I will oppose the Kane resolution and would recommend our colleagues do the same.
The vote comes as more attacks are being carried out today in Iran. Defense Secretary Hegseth announcing a Navy submarine sunk an enemy ship using a torpedo, the first attack of its kind since World War II. ABC's Christian Cordero has the latest updates.
From the perspective of a periscope camera, Central Command today released images of a U.S. submarine sinking an Iranian warship with a single torpedo, the first since World War II. And this image of an Iranian missile landing in a field near a Syrian airport shows just one of the 11 countries now involved in this war. As it escalates across the Middle East, the White House is adamant U.S. operations are ramping up and are equipped to outlast those of the Iranian regime.
They are toast, and they know it. Or at least, soon enough, they will know it. And we have only just begun to hunt, dismantle, demoralize, destroy, and defeat their capabilities, just 4 days in.
The Pentagon today said more than 50,000 American troops, 200 fighters, and 2 aircraft carriers and bombers are now part of the mission. In Washington, Democrats and some Republicans have slammed the Trump administration for going around Congress. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer responding to Secretary Hegseth's briefing.
What he is saying loud and clear is this: we're at war, and this administration is signaling more escalation ahead. This is insanity.
The Senate today taking up a war powers resolution vote to potentially limit the president's military capabilities unless he first goes through Congress. A separate measure is also making its way through the House.
It would empower our enemies, it would kneecap our own forces, and it would take the ability of the U.S. military and the commander-in-chief away from completing this critical mission to keep everybody safe.
Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
And today, Hegseth said the Iranian leader who plotted the assassination attempt on President Trump in 2024 has also been killed. Hegseth added that person was not the sole focus of any operation, but he personally made sure those responsible were eventually on the target list. And back to the 6 U.S. soldiers killed so far in the fighting. We now know that some of them were connected to the Fort Knox Army post, as we've reported. Officials say some of the soldiers were supporting the 1st Theater Sustainment Command when they were killed in action on March 1st. Radcliffe Mayor J.J. Duvall told WHAS11 Tuesday night that the 1st TSC is the headquarters command at Fort Knox. Meantime, military families may need extended support at this time. A 2023 study found that there were over 230,000 veterans in the states. A new program extension from the University of Kentucky helps military families find resources they may not otherwise be aware of. Nicole Huff with the program says that the specific needs differ by county.
Our agents who live near Fort Campbell, who work in Christian County, they will visit the base, so they'll have 4-H clubs on base, or we'll do programming on base.
Now, the extension shows resources available in all 120 counties. If you're a military family who needs help, that information can be found on UK's website or on the link that is on your screen. And let's take a look now at those gas prices that have jumped again overnight as the conflict rages on. Here you can see Kentucky and Indiana's current averages per gallon of regular unleaded. Indiana and Kentucky both jumped 15 cents since yesterday. Indiana up more than 40 cents from 1 week ago. In Kentucky, it's about 25 cents from a week ago. WHAS11 will continue following the joint attack on Iran as it develops. The best way to stay up to date with the latest updates is to download our WHAS11 app. You can download it for free right now from your smartphone's app store. These are some of the chopped up vehicles LMPD found as they investigated a chop shop operation that spread for miles across Louisville. Chief Paul Humphrey says the recovered parts, cars, and trucks were worth more than $650,000 alone. The chief says a chop shop is an operation that takes stolen cars and breaks them apart to sell piece by piece. It can be a lucrative crime until it's busted. And now 5 people are facing charges. Our Conroy Deluche and photojournalist Jessica Farley break down what police found and how they operated almost in plain sight.
Inside 502 Paw Spa.
My mom and my sister were grooming dogs.
And that's typical any morning. But last Tuesday, Madison Hammers heard a loud bang.
And so we looked over and we saw that they had pulled in there, and I was like, it looks like they're getting raided.
LMPD had swarmed the lot next door, White Shark Auto Sales. You see these tire marks right here? Well, the pet spa owner says that's actually from cars leaving their parking lot, cutting through and going into here.
I didn't think anything sketchy was going on. I didn't see anything sketchy.
There was a lot of high-end cars and a lot of trucks.
What Hammers witnessed was another piece in a puzzle that police had been putting together.
Numerous agencies coming out of numerous states.
LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey says the parts were chopped off of vehicles from Louisville, 4 other states besides Kentucky, and even Canada.
We recovered multiple guns, 9 guns in total. As part of this investigation, at least 2 of those had been reported stolen.
Police also recovered some drugs and a key fob reprogrammer. 4 people were arrested initially. A 5th suspect is now in custody. They face several charges, including engaging in organized crime, trafficking in stolen vehicle or parts, and receiving stolen property worth more than 10 grand.
I want this to be a clear message to the community that we are going to take care of these problems.
Chief Humphrey says these are not the only chop shops operating in town, and he expects to uncover more as they continue investigating. In Louisville, Conroy DeLuche, WHAS11 on your side.
Chief Humphrey says returning the stolen vehicle parts to victims is difficult because many of the cars themselves are unusable. He adds that if you're in need of a specific car part, do not buy it off the street. Go to a certified business. New tonight at 5, Ford vehicle sales stalled last month, hurt by a decline in demand for electric and hybrid vehicles. Today, Ford announced it sold just under 150,000 total vehicles, down more than 5% from the same time last year. On the EV side, the company sold just 2,100 in the USA last month, down from 7,300 in February of 2025. This comes as the Louisville Ford plant announced last year it's set to begin production of an electric truck here in 2027. New tonight from Frankfort, Kentucky teens are advocating for a bill that could boost funding for youth development programs. Today was Children's Advocacy Day at the Kentucky State Capitol in Frankfort. K through 12 students got to hear directly from lawmakers about what they're doing to improve child care and public education in the state. Aaliyah Stegall is a high school student from Boyle County, and she's pushing for House Bill 686. It would direct future settlement money from lawsuits involving social media companies to go to organizations that work with kids.
Even if we just see social media as a small thing, we have to see it impacting the mental health of my generation as well, and understanding that the rising levels of anxiety and depression are going to impact students more than what just happens on their screens. It's going to impact them in their jobs, in their everyday life.
The bill sits in the House Families and Children Committee right now. It has not yet received a hearing. Coming up, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and the state's Attorney General appearing on Capitol Hill today, testifying before the House Oversight Committee. We hear from a Kentucky representative saying alleged fraud is running rampant in the state's social services programs.
And here's a check of today's Kentucky Lottery jackpots. Mega Millions $496 million, Powerball $20 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.